Here before. This series is on the Christian home. Um, Last week we talked about marriage by divine design, how God designed the marriage to be. And this week we're going to study on how we're going to establish a Christian foundation in marriage. We're going to get in here. There'll be some topics this week, be a little different. Some things, there's like 15 things we're going to talk about, different. So we encourage open discussion and kind of helps the class go along. I'm just going to read to you out of the book here for just a second. That Christians in the bond of marriage have been given the opportunity to represent the wonderful union that exists between Christ and His church. The Bible said, God has made us spirit, soul, and body. We're not simply a body, but spirit and soul and body. When people use this phrase, they often begin with body, but there is a divine order we should always follow. Divine order is first spirit, then soul, then body. In marriage, we're to be one in spirit, one in soul, one in body. Genesis 2:4 talks about the earliest record of marriage in the Garden of Eden. God told Adam to leave his father and mother, establishing a principle of leaving and cleaving. And, well, I guess a lot of people, and I hadn't even thought about it until I studied this lesson, but there's a difference between unity in a marriage and a union. It says a husband and wife, we can agree on a lot of things. We can agree on where we live, what we eat, what car we drive, and appear to be together on everything we do, and have a degree of unity in the marriage, but you can still not have a union. So this lesson today is going to guide us, hopefully, on that. It's amazing how many people, they say, Brother Sexton wrote, contemplates marriage, it's give no consideration to the spiritual things. He talks in here, tells a story about a man and a woman that had been married for years, and after 10 years, they started having some problems, and he asked, was your husband a Christian? She said, well, I don't know. Well, they've been married 10 years, so in my eyes, if she don't know, then probably not. She said, we don't talk about things like that. So that's one of the things we're going to get into here in just a few minutes. And I found this amazing too. It said, God's word says that we should not be unequally yoked together. Christian people should marry Christian people. However, some people are married to Christians, and they are also unequally yoked because one loves the Lord and one doesn't. And no marriage can be strong unless it's built on oneness in the body. We're not just to have oneness in the body, but oneness in spirit, soul, and body. The spiritual union that we have with God and with one another lays the foundation for everything else in marriage. Okay, we're going to get into these 15 topics, and what we're hoping this will do says what will help us to have this union. What will build the stability you must have in your home if your home is to endure. And then we're going to get into these 15 things, and I'd like to, they're in your pamphlet there. As we go to each one, maybe we'll talk and I'll read the verse and then we can discuss that. The first one, speak to one another about how you came to know the Lord and what He means to you. Psalms 107 verse 2 says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom He hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy. And I got to thinking about this when I was studying this, and I can tell you Larryetta, I've heard her, how she was saved, but I don't know if she can tell you mine. I mean, I just got to thinking about, and I've heard her tell it enough. And then what it says is you should be able to tell your wife's testimony, and she should be able to tell yours in this strong union. And I know that ain't always the case. I mean, I didn't even think about it till last night when I was studying this part. Do anybody have any examples or questions on that? The second part says, pray together and share answers to prayers. Amos 3:3. Can two walk together except they be agreed. We often pray together, Larietta and I do, but they still times, if it's we always pray when we eat, and there's certain situations we always pray in, but I still feel like we lack there sometimes on praying, even though we do pray together. And it says you'll never know the heart of your spouse until you hear that person pray. It talks about how they pray for you, what they pray for, and how they pray, like for your children, and just to hear them pray. Do many of you all pray as a couple?
Not like we should, yeah, but only when something, usually when something's wrong, or somebody else is in distress, or
Yeah.
it's not like, yeah.
We pray when we're driving and stuff, and we go somewhere, like we'll say a prayer together.
Yeah.
Usually it's him praying.
Well, I find that I want to do this stuff. Like everybody else, our lives seem so hectic that we're up in the morning, we're running from the time we get up, then we go to work, we're running at work, then we come home and we're rushing to get everything in. And before you know it, like last night, I wanted to do one of those books and do a thing with Reed. I come downstairs, he's asleep. And it's just like families today are just constantly pulled. And but I think it's important that we pray together and share our answered prayers with each other. Hey, here's what happened. And I just find it, we talk about answered prayers, and Lord will do something for us sometime. It'll be like we're so shocked and amazed. We shouldn't be, So it says, read God's word together and share with your spouse the things God has used to speak to you. Psalms 119, verses 105. The word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. He talks about he likes to hear his wife read, and she likes to hear him read, so they read the Bible to each other. I'd never thought of that. There'll be a lot of times when Larietta do, so I'll say, read that. So, and I do find, I guess, when I related that to this part of the lesson, and but we don't take the time to read together like we should be doing that, and I know that. It says, give prayer requests to one another. Galatians 6:2. Bear you one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. Pray. We need to pray about everything. Whatever decisions we're making, we need to pray about them. From, do we need to buy that car? Do we need to make this move? To even to the smallest things. And I find that we pray over the big things a lot of times, but not the little things. Yeah, I agree. And I'll just be honest, I feel guilty sometimes because I know God wants to hear our prayer requests and stuff, but when I have something little, it seems so insignificant to me that I just don't want to feel like I don't want to burden God with it. It ain't that I. Yeah. Yeah.
We could look at it like Reed, I want to know every detail of anything you have to say, because if we can just realize that that's the relationship we're supposed to have with the Lord, and I know I don't realize that sometimes, but if we could just grasp that and realize He does want to hear all these little things, just like we want to hear from our children, but for some reason it's just hard to wrap your mind around it.
And in the context, we should be doing that together as a family, as husband and wife. We should also give prayer requests to one another. Whatever I'm burdened with, I should let her know, because it talks about in Galatians 6:2, bear you one another's burdens. and so fulfill the law of Christ. It's like, I always looked at it like carrying something. If I'm trying to carry this big box and it's heavy or it's awkward to hold, just by somebody helping me, it makes it carrying that a lot easier. And I think that's the way that you look at these burdens, when you got somebody to split them with you and help you carry them. What's that saying? Can't remember it now. About easing the burden, or I can't remember. It may have been it.
It just seems to be the men, you don't want to wipe the word, you think really, I'm not old school, you don't burden your wife with your burden.
Yeah.
You carry the load, it's all you want, you carry it, you don't want to burden nobody else with it.
Yeah.
See, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, I always found interesting when it says, bear you one another's burden, and then right after that, it said, every man shall bear his own burden. Literally, right after, like,
Yeah.
a couple lines down.
In the context, though, I ain't read it, but in the context, you can break it down and see what he's talking about there. And it's not, we got a responsibility to carry ourselves, but yet in our burdens, that we're supposed to share and get help for our lives, but yes, we do have a responsibility of the burden that we carry. Our own cross that we carry is where it breaks out, and that, where it hurts, that, that we have a responsibility factor, but yet we're supposed to share with one. There's two different Greek words in that burden there. And when you break it out, you can see it. But, we're supposed to share our burdens. What's weighing us down. We're supposed to share that you can pray for me and help me and do that. But yet I've got a responsibility of a service, of a burden of a cross that God has called me to bear for him. You see what I'm saying? And there's two different burdens there that it's explaining. It's not the same burden.
And how many times, though, have you shared those burdens with somebody? And, this is talking about we should share them with our spouse, but not just your spouse, but I've seen we'll share our burdens and have, say, a group pray, start praying about it. And just by sharing that burden, it feels like it's lifted 1,000 pounds off the shoulder.
Satan wants to keep us isolated. If he can keep you isolated and keep that load upon you and that weight upon you and that stress.
Could it mean like, because you're supposed to become one once you're, united.
Right.
So like, essentially every man should carry his own burden, but, she is me and I am her, kind of. So maybe, I haven't read it either, but maybe they're talking about you shouldn't share your burdens with, say I shouldn't go to Hagan or Cody or you and, share my family burden or my family's burdens with, my brothers and sisters. It should remain between her and I.
I don't think
In the letter of law, he's not talking about that.
it should start with your wife. It should start because you are one. You should be as together on it, but yet, he's not, you don't air your dirty laundry to me.
Right.
There's nothing like, that ain't what it's talking about. It's talking about, when you got genuine burdens, and that you need the counsel. I've been married longer than you have, and I've went through things that you're gonna face. And you probably went through some things that I don't even know nothing about, that I've never faced, that I may encounter. And we're a body, and as a body, we're to share one another's burdens. Because when that little pinky, if I'm just a little pinky, I still cause the whole, you smash that little thing.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see what all hurts. You hurt, and I'm the life and you life. I'm the cry when you're the cry. We're together in this walk, and we're to share the burdens with one another. And when Satan can keep you isolated as a family and as a couple, nobody else goes through this. You look at their life, they go home, and they're smiling, they're happy, they don't have no problems in their life, and you got this problem, and you keep that bottled up, and you think you're the only ones going through it, and you get very discouraged, you get very low, you get very run down and burdened, and it just wears you out. But when you start talking with couples and talking with other people, even single people. This is, you know, hey, I was young once, this is what I went through. Now, your life may be different than mine, face different things, but yet we all are individuals walking through this same world of sin, same struggles, same temptations, and that's what it is. And we share that and we realize, hey, Dora and Sheila, they ain't perfect. They go through things, they've went through things, they've went through struggles, and wake up one morning, look at each other and go, what in the world are we doing? With you, you know?
She's got a MacArthur Study Bible, and on 6:2 it says, bear one another's burdens. Burdens are extra heavy loads, which here represent difficulties or problems people have dealing with bear, context carrying something with endurance. Then 6:5 compares the burden to a load. It's a different word, just like you said in the Greek. This is not a contradiction of verse 2. Load has no connotation of difficulty. It refers to life's routine obligation and each believer's ministry call.
Responsibility.
Just like you were saying earlier. I thought that was right.
Because I couldn't make you clear that bad.
The next step to help create this union, we should, as a husband and wife, we should attend church together. Hebrews 10:25 says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more, as ye see the day approaching. We should be attending church together. We should start talking about the lessons we've received by worshiping God together. One thing he referenced in this study was we'd all be a lot better off when we left here. We'd be talking about what the preacher talked about and what we got out of today's lesson as we leave this parking lot, instead of complaining about something that went wrong or who wasn't there or who did what. We should be concentrating on the word of the Lord, what the preacher, his lesson, what we got out of it. We should be basically reviewing that as we leave and forget the other stuff. I believe you'll see a lot of families, I mean, the husband may go to one church and the wife to the other. I don't believe that's biblical according to this. My father-in-law and his wife, when they got married, she tried to go to a different church for a while, and she finally came around. I don't know that it caused any problems, it's just she realized I needed to be with her husband. And we got people here, it's like they put, even in our own church, they put everything before God, and you'll see. I mean, we come separate today, that don't mean nothing. We had to, I come to the prayer thing, and she didn't, but we're usually together. But I believe, I'm just a firm believer in more than the same church.
You better be careful who you date as single people, because what can happen, what caused me and Sheila more trouble for our first 2 years of marriage is the fact that she was strong Church of God and I was strong Baptist, and we was dominant in our beliefs. But yet she knew her responsibility as a wife. They sound old-fashioned, but responsibility was to be with me, her husband, biblically. But yet, as a young person, you better be careful who you couple up with, because just because you say you're a Christian, your doctrinal beliefs can get you in a world of trouble and cause divisions beyond compare in your relationship, with God.
How did y'all end up reconciling that?
A lot of crying on the couches at 10 o'clock at night.
Hard first 2 years.
There's a lot of nights sitting up just crying on the couch.
But wasn't there give and take there, though?
I get it.
We're in the same situation, feeling the same thing.
If you're Baptist and you got the doctrinal stand, I'm Baptist because I feel like it's the closest to the New Testament teaching that there is. That's why I'm Baptist. I'm a Christian first, but I believe Baptists are the closest to the New Testament teachings, and that's why I'm Baptist. But yet, she was very dominant in her Church of God race and stuff. So it's tough. And if you think, we'll work this out later, you better work it out before you say I do. Before you say I do. do. It's not just about coupling up with a lost person. Because coupling up with a Christian of a different denomination can cause you heartache beyond compare.
That's what we talked about. You can be unequally yoked married to another Christian.
Exactly.
And it could be any type, like that situation, or like it said over there, because one loves the Lord and one doesn't. But it can also be in these situations.
Both of you love the Lord.
Yeah.
And you still, in the stands that you take and stuff.
One thing about that situation is, the wife she can still keep her beliefs, her convictions with her faith, whatever, like that. But she still needs to be with her husband.
Right.
He's not, I'm sure he didn't ask her to change everything that she believed in her faith, but he just wanted her to come with him to church and hear what the Baptist preaches. That's where he's at.
Well, that's like last Sunday night. I mean, we went to the Church of God. They asked us several weeks to come give each testimony and sing and stuff. And that's where we was at last Sunday night. And I'll just be honest with you, I'm Baptist, but I enjoy the Church of God services. And I know there's things I don't agree with and we're opposite on, but I still enjoy it. I mean, we didn't get out of church until after 9 o'clock down here the other night. I mean, it's wonderful.
Bill, when the Bible says that the man's head of the woman is, that Christ is in the church, that tells me there's a responsibility though, that God's looking to the man.
Be the priest.
Yeah, he's the man, he's the head of his household, he's the spiritual
And we
leader.
talked-
He answers for everything in his household until the age of the children accountability.
Now, we've already talked about, the roles in the lesson
Yeah.
one of the people in the home. The wives are to submit, the husbands are to love, the children are to obey, and the fathers are not to bring their children to wrath. That's our role, and I think with this lesson over here, we're gonna talk a little bit more about this.
See, I couldn't change it. God had to.
I do want to say, God taught me about His grace for the deal. I really believe that many times I sinned, and I don't think that was just a belief within our church. I think it was a particular teaching. Maybe it was young in the faith. If I told a lie or something or walked
Yeah.
back, I'd go to hell. I
That's right,
believe
Church
that,
of
and
God.
I still love the Lord.
Yeah.
But I live that way.
Yeah.
When you've been raised that way for 23 years, when I got a grasp of His mercy and His grace and He loved me.
Yes.
It's like getting saved all over
Come on.
again, yes. So, I have seen that He nurtured me, and it was difficult. I can't say I recommend it, but I'm very thankful for what He's taught me.
The next step in creating this union is spend time each day talking about God's care of your lives. 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast all your cares upon Him, for He careth for you." I don't think we do that daily, but we do that often. I guess last week she said she's driving to work and just realize how God's blessed her with different things in her life. And, she came back and she shared that with me, and which to me that uplifts me, and I think that's why that's in here. We should talk about how good God is, and how God has cared for you during the day. And I guess with cell phones nowadays, a lot of times she has something exciting, she'll call me during the day. "Hey, you don't believe what happened," and I'll do her sometimes. But I'm glad God. We fall short in a lot of these categories, but we do that one a lot. And here's the biggest one. The next step, we talked about that in the previous lesson, is forgiveness. Number 7, choose to forgive. Ephesians 4:32. Be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you.
And that means don't bring it up in the next fight you have.
How many people do that, though? I mean, honestly.
I told her pastor, I told 8 pastors, to forgive historical, not stereotypical.
Bad memory really helps.
Well, we should make marriage, forgiveness part of our marriage. We must have a forgiving relationship. And here he says, choose to forgive in your marriage as Christ has forgiven you. Well, that puts it right on ground level to me. I mean, I don't care what your fight is or how bad it is. Christ forgave everything. And as husband and wife and family, we should be going to do that.
Well, when you're battling though, you wanna go for the kill.
That's the way the nature is.
That's what human nature is, carnal nature.
That's how your children use it against you sometimes. If you and your wife, you wanna stick together on certain things, they'll divide and conquer. They'll take you over here, and then they'll take mother over there. The next thing you know, mom and dad's back there again.
Make a good picture.
You should try to talk everything out, mother, husband and wife, always.
And one thing you hear all the time, and I've got this in a different spot where I wrote it in this lesson, but it's fitting here, Ephesians 4:26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Amen.
I mean, I'm not guilty of that. But somebody else in my marriage might be.
I'm behind you, bro.
I hate going to bed angry. If we've had an issue, I want it settled. And I know she don't mind her, I wouldn't have said that, but there'll be a lot of times she'll go bad and she is still not helping. She ignores it. So, the next step is be willing to accept reproof and correction from one another. Man, when I read that, how hard is it? Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Reproof shouldn't be given in a public place or in front of other people. But what's the first thing we do when your spouse tries to correct you on something or bring something to your attention? You get defensive. I mean, why are you telling me that? You do this, you do this, you do this. You may not do that, but you do that. I mean,
If you live with the Holy Spirit's sister, you get that, right?
and this is true in here, this is so true. You can tell much about your spiritual maturity by the way you respond to love and reproof. Be willing to accept correction. It will help your marriage to grow. And I mean, I guess we've all been in that situation where you try to tell somebody, I know we have, she'll try to tell me something, and I'll kind of take offense to it, and I'll bring something up to her and she'll get mad, because we should be willing to accept that as long as it's loving. The word in here is loving. We should do it in a
Yes.
loving capacity and not as a degrading, I guess. We don't hammer each other, we don't degrade each
A
other.
lot of times you do it because you ain't forgiven.
Yeah. That's
You need
it.
that. You need that.
That's the step right before this, was,
I
don't
thought
you?
Robert said something about that too, like, you reprove fools and hate, you reprove the wise men and things. That's not exactly what it
Yeah.
said, but it's along the line.
You tell forgiveness ain't happening though, because you get out in public and if that little tiff's still going on, you'll find yourself cutting your mate in front of somebody. That's not good at all.
Yeah. The next step to create this union is seek Christ for your victory over annoying habits in your life. 1 John 5:4 says, for whosoever is born of God overcometh the world. And this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. I'm been guilty of this. I'm trying to get over it, but a lot of men's like, well, I'm just that way. It's just the way I am. And be over something, maybe an attitude over something, or the way you act up to a particular thing. If we have a habit that we should not have, we need to ask God to give us victory over that habit. I struggled with anger, and I found that was one of mine several years ago. I struggled with anger, and I found these verses. Let me find them real quick.
I relate to the Hulk real well. I think you control that? I'm angry all the time. I just angry all the time.
I found these verses in Ephesians 4 and 31 through 32, and I started praying them every day. It's like my prayer, and it says, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice, and be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. And I still have to go back to that, and I've got it in my little New Testament. I've got a little mark right there in when I'm sharing Jesus without fear. And in my other Bible, before I got these big letters so I could read.
Amen.
In my other Bible, I've got a mark right there. There's in both of those books, there'll be a little piece of paper right there marking those. I started praying those because that was, and I know it's kind of more than a habit. This is particularly not my habit, but that was one of the things I had. And I started praying that, and over time, I'm like, oh, it ain't gone, and I just continued to do that. Basically daily. I may have been probably 4 or 5 days a week. I would read those as a prayer. Next thing I knew, I was like, man, I ain't had those feelings in a long time. I mean, it just slipped my, and every now and then when I get those, that's why I keep that mark. I go back to those verses, and those help me. This here says, wives, if you pout and hold grudges, allowing the sun to go down on your wrath, this is not Christ-like. Ask God to forgive you. Ask God to give you the victory. That's why I wrote that over here. I said when I wrote that here. But any bad habits we have, I mean, it's like we talked about earlier. I think you have whatever that habit is, and you won't really want to get rid of it. You'll lay it down him, but you also, we can bear that burden with you. We can help you pray for that. And I've started something new. I've got a little book right there. And, I try to write down prayer requests I hear during the day that really rings the bell. My goal is to start every night going and praying for the ones I've gathered that day. And I'm still working on my system. I'm writing them down and doing it. So, I mean, you know, we can help each other with those habits. This is talking about it in the sense of as marriage. We should be, you know, helping our spouse pray about these things. Another step is allow nothing unclean through your eye gate. Psalms 101, verse 3. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. Talked about it here, you know, you can't watch regular TV now. Used to, if you saw something bad, it had to be on, back when I was a kid, it's HBO. You watch anything bad, it had to be like on HBO. Now you turn on CBS, NBC, just normal TV, and with those things, it's hard not to, you'll be watching a show, and it's hard not to see these things. I mean, even if you ain't, they'll pop up, and you ain't even willing.
I don't think we fully realize how much he indoctrinates us, like, especially, you know, children. Like, I was flipping through the channel the other day, and you know, you always had different scenes, but now really the home, the daddy lifestyle, it was on like 3 or 4 different channels, and they were just all like, and that's what's going in, you know, I don't have children, but what's going in my little brother and sister's mind, like, and you know they watch TV and they see that, and then it slowly.
It's even on the children's channel.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Cartoons and everything.
And that's what they're indoctrinating. Even if we don't realize what it's just like the music you listen to, okay? If you listen to rock and roll, it does something to you. It just does, and yeah. And
Attitude
then
is bizarre, that you shouldn't have.
exactly, then you go to Caleb, and hope, joy, and peace, and kindness.
Rock and roll country brings back memories of lost man to me.
Okay.
It's instant. I can listen to just a few words of the song and I can think about living like hell.
Right.
That fast. I can't do it.
It's amazing. You said it, the attitude that the music puts into you. I put, I mean, if you put AC/DC in your stereo, you're acting like crazy now. I mean, that's, you just, you know, you just, so, I mean, I was going up the interstate and I got a couple CDs I really like. One was Wade Spencer. I mean, a lot of times I just hear some of those songs. I'm in the car by myself and I got tears running down my
Oh,
face.
yeah, I do that all the time.
And, you know, I've got different CDs that I just like. And I try, that's what's in my CD player. And,
You think this verse right here, though, I think this is a man verse, big time, because men are visually driven. And I think, just like what we're talking about rock music or whatever, if a man is a man, and we allow sexual things, let's just get brass tacks, sexual things, and the women, if we focus on them and allow that stuff in, it's gonna create a desire that your wife will never, ever, ever meet, because it's a false expectation of safety. And when you start getting desires and lusts and wants that'll never be filled, and I ain't never been on a boat, it's like trying to get that high that you'll never reach. And if she can't meet it, you'll start getting that green grass syndrome, and they'll meet it. They'll meet it. And all that boils down to, that green grass in somebody else's yard, it's just over their septic system.
yeah. One of the things, and you know, I guess he thought when he wrote this lesson, I think I'm like you, that is more towards men.
That's a man verse.
That's a
We're
man verse.
visual. Women can look at things and a man will go, oh, and a
Yeah.
woman will look, ugh. It's repulsive to a woman.
The
But
last-
man, it's like cranking. I mean, fire me up, let's go.
The last paragraph in this section, not only men, but also women can get involved in these same kind of things. Watch your eye gate. If you want this spiritual union, do not let evil things in your eye gate. So,
See, a woman's eye gate will look at another couple and say, look how sweet he is to her, look how nice he is. It's not what she's wearing, boy, it ain't that, it ain't about the physicalness, it's about how they are emotionally nice to them and whatever. There's a different eye gate there, totally, for a woman than there is a man. But the eye gate still looks at something on somebody, and it will crank one tractor or another.
we're about out of my.
Sorry.
No, this makes, I love it, even if we don't get through these, even if we don't get through these, everybody's got their book that they can look the verses up. Another to help create this union, desire the Spirit of Christ in your marriage. Philippians 2:5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. It says so many believers are content to call themselves Christians, but they do not desire to be like Christ. You know, to be like Christ, it talks in here, we got to first die to self. And that's one of the hardest things I think new Christians face is dying to the self and the old things. You said the music made you think back to when you was
Yes.
It says when children come along, the husband and wife need to be together, not just under the same roof, but together in spirit to deal with problems and difficulties their children will have. You know, if you got a child and you're telling them one thing, the mother's telling them another, that's very confusing to that child. And then as they get older, they learn to take advantage of that. They know who to ask what. And these things I know with Reed, I don't agree with that she wants to do, and these things I want to do, she don't agree with. But we see them come together on those. Ultimately, we want what's best for him, and we can't have what's best. You can't have what's best for the children if you all ain't in agreement and you ain't together on this thing. It says, it saddens me to think how many people are settled into simply having a marriage and have not allowed God to really do for them what He desires to do. Desire the Spirit of Christ in your marriage. The next step to making this or building this union is build your life around the Lord. Colossians 1:18. And He is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things He might have preeminence. Just build your life around the Lord, not your children, not activities, not hobbies. You know, how many people you see, all they've got, everything they do is around their kids. Or it could be around a hobby. You know, that's what they live to do. But what happens I was reading in here, and we've seen it a lot. When those kids are grown and leave the house, then the wives and husbands, they realize, hey, we're strangers to each other. But we've just been living for our child. That's our only common thing is this child. And it said a lot of the, when those children leave, a lot of marriages fall apart after that. I'm sure we've all seen it, we talked about, if we love each other, if we love God first, we're gonna love each other, and we're gonna love each other more. And he gives the example of the triangle, which we've all probably seen. God at the top and us here, the closer we get to God, as we move up the side of that triangle, the closer we are together. And I don't remember who it was, somebody was talking about, it may not even been here, but they was telling me about their daughter was going to get married. He told, I don't remember exactly how it went, but basically, he wanted his son-in-law to love the Lord more than he loved his daughter. Because usually he goes, how much you love the daughter more than anything? Because he knew if he loved the Lord like that, he would love and treat his daughter how he would love and treat his daughter.
Our God relationship, all of our physical relationships depends on our God relationship. If I can't get along with you, it's because I'm not getting along with God. Because I'm able to give you, patient with you, persevere with you, long suffering with you, everything that if I get it from God, and I'm with God, I can put up with you.
And here I'm going to go through each other's word all the time. Exalt Christ to one another. Psalms 34:3. Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. In your home, praise the Lord and speak of the goodness of God. Talk about how wonderful the Lord is to you and your family. The next one is cultivate a spirit of gratitude. Colossians 3:15. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to be with also you, to the which also you are called in one body, and be ye thankful. And I've been guilty of this. I'm probably still guilty of griping. I mean, we take for granted, what the Lord's done to us, and we need to have that spirit of gratitude. I mean, we need to be thankful, constantly thankful for what the Lord's done for us and our families, and what he continues to do. I'm going to hit these real quick. These are so true. It says, some suggestions to help you cultivate a spirit of gratitude. Talk about one of them is visit a nursing home. How many of you have been to a nursing home? You'll see people. Most time we go to a nursing home because we're going to visit somebody we know. But if you're in a nursing home, I ever worked in one, and you get to know them other than through just going to see somebody. I got close to a lot of them where a lot of these people never have one person that comes in. They have nobody. Talk about being grateful. A friend of mine who rents a trailer, a fella died and it burned up. Come find out he committed suicide. Between visitation and funeral, there's 24 people came. I mean, then it says visit a hospital, especially a pediatric unit, and man, we can tell you about that. Except to see these little babies hooked on drugs. It sounds like a little kid drilling over and over for hours, non-stop. Then it talks about visiting the people. It says witness to people. To have a spiritual marriage, we must cultivate a spirit of gratitude. And the last one, take your rightful place in the marriage. And we've talked about what our places was, and this basically is just a rehash of lesson one. We know what our positions is, and that's what we mentioned a while ago. There's a word for wives, husbands, children, and fathers in there. And it says you're going to be the spiritual leader who loves Jesus Christ. Your wife will love and admire the way you love Christ. Wife, your place is to submit to the authority of your husband's leadership in your home. You cannot honor God and obey God without being submissive to your husband. That's easy to do if your husband's leaving, like he's supposed to. That's what it talks about up here. But sorry we had to rush through the end. Anybody's here, every week I'm going to lay the extra on these back on the table, so I've got 1 and 2 back there today, all the way to lesson 3. And I know I'm not the best teacher, but this is just a topic, and this study is trying to do to help our families and strengthen our families here in the church.
Amen.
Don't hold the teacher against what God's trying to do. So if anybody got anything before we close?
We love you.
Amen. Amen.
Would you close us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, thank you for this message, Lord. Lord, I know it's true in my life, Lord, that if I seek you, I can't go wrong. Lord, if I look to you first, I can't go wrong. God, help us to be strength, help these women to seek you first, help these men to seek you first. And Lord, let us be obedient by your word in everything we do. Father, we give you praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name.
You guys, on the back of these we give out, it's daily readings, which leads into next week's lesson.